Hello there, welcome back to the Ogre, the old Git Reacts, Reviews and Off Times Reminisces. Today we're doing a request. Woo! Don't get that many, so always welcome when they come. So if you want to do one or suggest one, please do. Anyway, where was I? Yes, so Fleeder31 has requested it. He gave me a list. Whether they wanted me to do them all or to pick from one, I don't know, but I'm taking the common sense approach and picking one. So from his list, I've picked UK Decay. Now then, cards on the table. In all honesty, I'm not a big fan of UK Decay. So, having said that, I did buy their first single, which was a split with, was it Pneumonia? Pneumania. And I did play it a fair bit back in the day, but within short order of that, I sort of went after the speedier side of punk, and UK Decay certainly doesn't go in that direction. So I've certainly heard subsequent UK Decay, courtesy of John Peel and friends that went a bit further with them. So I may have heard this. I don't recognise the song title. Middle of the Road Man, I think it is, without looking it up again. But it may become familiar when I listen to it, shall we say. So, for whatever worth it is, this may be a pure reaction. You won't tell. I've said before, you won't tell the difference between me reacting and reviewing. But anyway, enough of the nonsense. Let's crack on with UK Decay and Middle of the Road Man. My memory works. Okay, there is something familiar about this, and I can't say 100% I've heard this before, but there's something familiar about it. Anyway, so far, it's a step up from UK Decay, which was at the time, as I say, I played it a few times, so it couldn't have been totally sort of a turn off for me. But this is streets ahead compared to that. For start, it's got a range of tempos. UK Decay, the one, the single I have got, was pretty slow and had no sort of dynamism to it at all. But this has got dynamism, and it's got some speed in there as well, albeit fleetingly at times. So it is a better listen so far. I love it when they rip vinyl to YouTube, because all you youngsters with your that are used to your digital music with no imperfections in there whatsoever. It's it's a bit of a nostalgia trip, really, hearing that crackle of a needle being dragged through a groove. Just tickle me when I hear them again. And if any of you, I mean, all my vinyl's in the roof nowadays. And if you were to ask me why vinyl's the best medium, I've got tales of vinyl that vinyl destruction that would make any collector weep. So you can stick your vinyl, basically. Anyway, back to this. Now, I was watching a documentary on YouTube some time ago now, probably last year maybe, and it was about the history of goth. Now, I'm not a fan of goth music, although there are exceptions, but I'm intrigued by it nonetheless. And I was watching it, and the Steve Abbott rings a bell. Was he the guy who fronted this band? I think he was. Anyway, he was on there, and I'm thinking, what are you doing on there? Sort of totally unaware that apparently UK Decay were one of the forebearers of goth music, or at least goth rock at any rate, which surprised me. But listening to this, and this is the point I'm eventually getting to, is listening to this, I can see where that came from now, because there's definitely a proto-goth, if you like, sound here when you listen to... I mean, I know I went chasing goth music, but nonetheless, I heard it in the clubs and I heard it on John Peel. So I can see now why he was on that documentary. And I can see the influence that they lent to bands that came thereafter, which I found that quite interesting. A revelation, I tell you. I do love that bass riff, I have to say. So there you go, UK Decay. I had to chuckle there at the Tony Blackburn reference, which many of you, unless you're a contemporary of this music or this band, won't know what on earth it is. But he was a radio DJ at that time. He was just on Radio 1. But anyway, he played the dreariest middle of the road music. Sort of complete antithesis of everything that I used to listen to. So, having said I don't like, or never really thought much to UK Decay, I never hated them. It wasn't a band I particularly disliked. They just didn't resonate too much. They had a little stomper, For My Country, was it? Which was had a presence, it was a bouncy old number. And this one, I think of what I've heard of theirs, this is the best I've heard. As I say, mainly to do with the dynamism, that bass riff that kept popping in every now and again was very welcome. And I'm not a fan of jingle jangle guitar, but it weren't bad. And when they upped the ante and sped up a bit, even though there were brief sections, again, that was enough to please me. So there's not much more I can say, really. I mean, they were around that time, probably thereafter, because these were there was a lot of bands who were sort of proto something. In other words, they were going to be going in one direction or another, and likely to influence something or other. That's vague, but the point I'm making is, in the case of UK Decay, it would seem, because it wasn't until I saw that documentary, as I mentioned, that I was aware of it. You can see where the roots of certain musics lay, and again, the subject matter, I guess, a little bit is punk had I mean, they were a punk band first off. Let's remind ourselves. Punk went in all sorts of directions, had all sorts of themes. But the theme on this particular song lends towards moving away from the sort of anger, spite, and politicization, all sort of punk rock tropes. Although lots of bands never touched those themes, but yes, interesting. And I have to say, if I put my 1970s, 80s head on, it's quite an enjoyable song, that. Yeah. Anyway, clicky bollocks. Catch you all next time. Cheerio.